white balance. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about white balance and what does that exactly mean. So what is white balance? White balance is basically how you determine what the colors of the image will look like based on the color white. So how do you set white balance? You can do either manually or automatically. In automatic mode, also known as AWB, automatic white balance, you'll just turn on your camera, and depending on the conditions in the room, in the situation, outside, indoors, outdoors, whatever it may be, your camera will determine what is white and adjust the colors accordingly. You can have really cool temperatures or really warm temperatures. I'll talk about that in a much later episode, inshallah. So how do you set white balance? Like I said, you can do it automatic or manual. If you were to do it manually, what you'll need to do is take a nice white piece of paper, make sure your exposure is set. I'll talk about that actually in this next video. I'll be talking about exposure. Make sure your exposure is set correctly. You take your white piece of paper, you make sure you fill up the whole frame, and then you go ahead and push the button for white balance. Now, what does it look like? The white balance symbol looks like this. Okay, and you'll find this across all cameras. It doesn't matter where, what brand, what manufacturer, it doesn't matter. They all look the same symbol. So you'll find that once you fill up the frame with that white card, white piece of paper, white cloth if you can, get your hands on that. Make sure the light source is hitting it so it is white, and then you go ahead and hit that button. Then your image will change the colors based off of that white. Because you set it to that. Is there any more I can talk about? For example, let's say that there are two different types of color temperatures that are being given off. In one room of your shot, it's you know, cold or cooler looking colors. It's kind of a blue tint. And in another room, it's orange. What do you do in those situations? Sometimes you'll get some gels of the opposite color and put those over to make sure that it counters it. There are different situations and different methods of doing this. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. I'm just rambling on just to lengthen the video. Most cameras have presets to the different white balances that they can produce. Sometimes if you want to go manual, you can go manual, or you can use these presets. Me personally, I like to use the presets because it's in its programming to know what color temperatures the camera will show the white balance at. So for example, right now, this light that I'm using, this ring light, is 5500 Kelvin. And so to counter that, to make sure that my colors are correct, I put on the preset of daylight, right? Which is the countering white balance for that. That's something that you have to keep in mind as well. Let me just go off on a tangent real quick. Whenever you're setting your color temperatures, you have to make sure you set your white balance to the opposite side of the spectrum. For example, the two common color temperatures there are, which again I'll go more into detail later on, is 3200 Kelvin and 55 or 5600 Kelvin. 3200 Kelvin is the color temperature that is given off in daylight. That's what I'm doing right here for, you know, for this setup. The light bulb is 5500 Kelvin, so then my camera has to be on a daylight setting. So to go back to the other presets, you have daylight, which is what I'm using now. You have shade, which is just a little bit, more increased than that. And then after that, you have fluorescent light sometimes, which actually gives off a green look. And then you will have tungsten light. But remember, as a filmmaker, you want to do everything in manual, so that includes your white balance, meaning that you want to have complete customization of what your image looks like, so that way you have complete control of what you are outputting. You may have noticed that the audio is a lot cleaner because I did hook up my wireless mic to the camera, so now you get some nice clean audio, not audio straight into the camera microphone, because it wasn't as great. What else can I talk about? White balance. I don't know. Talk about white balance. Is that it? Is that it? Is that the basics of it? Did I really just rush through all of that? I guess I did. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and make sure you share it with your friends. And if you want to stay tuned with the rest of the series, make sure you subscribe and make sure you get notifications for it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.